Going live. Hey, share the link to my friend first.
Today we're gonna talk about.
Going live. Hey, share the link to my friend first.
Here's somebody. Today we're gonna talk about.
Want to off your.
Yeah, I want to off mine.
Going live. Hey, share the link to my friend first.
Here's somebody. Today we're gonna talk about.
Want to off your. Going live. Hey, share the link to my friend first. Thank you for joining us.
Today we're gonna talk about.
If you're watching this from the comfort of your bed and from your sofa, wherever that is, we are very envy of you because we are still trying to be awake by sipping our cup of coffee. By the way, we are still looking for coffee sponsors. Right.
Your thoughts right here, PM.
Brand extension,
Brand extension.
So anyway, today we have a special guest. Yeah, it's you. It's you, the paint butcher. Name Paint Butcher, man.
Oh, if you see what's happening, you see what has happened to the car, you know why it's called a paint butcher, man. Oh.
So today we are going to talk about polishing, hence light bling bling to shine it up. We will show you a lot of techniques and skills that will be involved. We would not be explaining about the products that comes on the light bling bling episode 2. So do stay tuned for the upcoming live video shows. So Henry, what can we expect from?
Before that, first I want to ask the audience.
Yes.
Okay, so do you guys watching now have a Rotary or Rotary? Okay, I have this problem pronouncing Rotary and
Rotary.
Rotary. A DA. Alright, how many of you have a Rotary? How many have you have a DA? How many of you have both? Or 3 or 4 or 5?
Rotary is supposed to be 2 syllables, right? Rotary, not Rotary.
Rotary.
Is it 2 or is it 3?
Can somebody teach me how to pronounce this? I need to go for English school.
Know your tuition. Go to your tuition. Know your teacher.
No. Good morning, Edos. I'm getting a feedback. He's getting a feedback. Edos is getting a feedback. We're all good? Okay, we're all good.
Okay.
Alright, so yeah, okay, so what do you have for me now?
So what can we expect from today's live show?
Alright, today I'm gonna share with a technique is to sort of optimize cutting, optimize a pass. Okay, my sound, yeah, suddenly that come to optimize cutting, optimize pass a bit very
Technical?
sudden, technical, right? But anyway, so I'm gonna share, I wouldn't say a newfound technique, but a technique that I've always been practicing, which is why some people using the same combination. Like, okay, I use a wool pad, I use a compound.
Interesting. Why some people prefer microfiber over wool? That sort of stuff?
No, not really that. Example, let's just say a combination like this, my typical go-to. Alright, so some people tell me they don't get enough cut, right? Some people tell me that oh, I'm cutting too much. So well, okay, of course, if we are not getting what we want to get, we can switch the pads, switch the combinations, right? But before doing so, I want to extend the bleeding using skills to try to curb the issue. Alright, so this is where I'm sharing.
I see. So by switching up a bit of technique, you will be able to get different results. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
That's very interesting. So let us know if you are watching, whether you are a Rotary user or whether you are a DA dual action polisher. What kind of polisher guy are you? The Rotary guy or the DA guy?
Depending on the job that I need to do. But nowadays is a DA, unless I really have to butcher the paint, then it's Rotary.
Yeah, but your title is Paint Butcher. So can you use a Rotary to complete the entire car?
Okay, it's
by using the so-called technique that to
not easy, but possible. Subject to paint type sometimes. Because okay, paint type we cannot control what paint it is. We can control our techniques, we can control the combinations, but we cannot control the paint, right? So there are certain paints that we can finish down with the Rotary, but it's quite skill intensive. The easier way is just use the DA. However, if you want extreme cut, you want fast cut, you want rapid leveling and everything, the Rotary is still the way to go.
But there is a notion of people being afraid of using a Rotary because it burns paints fast. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, burn paint fast means you correct fast. That's how you cannot blame the knife for cutting your hand.
And people always recommend to have a sharp knife because having a blunt knife is actually more dangerous. Does that apply to polishing?
So what, having DA is more dangerous than the rotary? No, okay,
Technically, DA also burn paints. I've seen people burning paints with DA as well.
Yeah. Okay, that theory applies for cooking lah. So actually no, actually quite true. Actually quite true. Because okay, I have an experience. I seen a person trying to level with a wool pad. All right. In the past, if you have a very worn-out wool pad, you may be able to achieve certain leveling because it's thinner and the backing plate transfers energy directly. Right. That guy ran very fast and very hard and created a lot of heat. The orange peel did not level, but the paint burned.
Did not level, but paint burn.
Right. So this is called inefficient leveling. Inefficient leveling. Inefficient. Fuck my mind. Oh, sorry.
Right. So what are your best tips for people who are getting started? Maybe some of them are whether I should get a Rotary or DA. Which polish machine should you start off with?
First thing you do, open your wallet. Step one.
Why is that relevant? Open your wallet. Hobby is always expensive. No hobby is cheap. I mean, modifying cars is expensive.
Okay, regardless.
Going fishing is expensive.
Whether it's a Rotary or whether it's a DA, the best answer is look at what you want to achieve. Okay, if you want to achieve a very flat finish, whatever they call it, razor flat, orange peel free things, and you only have a DA, depending on your paintwork, you may be able to get away with it. But if there's something that you want, just go for it. If you only want to knock off certain swirls, do some paint cleaning, then why get a Rotary when you can just get a DA? Right, so ask yourself that. I think that's number one for me. It's what I want to achieve.
I see.
Yeah.
So for
my boss disagree. My boss wants me to sell more stuff.
Right. So for people who are getting started in polishing, my best advice is the one that when I started, I was confused with a lot of pads and a lot of polish combination. But yeah, by trying out, you will actually know. Always go with recommendations by whoever you are getting the machine or the products from. Demo, get them to demo or stuff. I think that's a good start. Because when I came here, when I started buying as your customer, I was very confused with what sort of pad. I actually bought all, and I didn't finish it.
Why a lot of marketing companies want to confuse you, so you buy everything,
Right, but technically after I got to know, we don't really need a lot of products if you are polishing your own car. Unless you are in the detailing business, then yes, you need variations because you do not know what sort of paint that you will encounter.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah. So the best thing is like this. The most truthful marketing, whatever, you want to find out what's best for you, you bring your car here, we demo, and then we get the best combination, and then you get that. But that's like giving a shortcut. I mean, that doesn't really.
This is the best way to get started.
So I think we've chatted enough. I want to.
Yep. So let's have a look at the swirl up car. It's horrible, deliberately horrible. We wanted to make sure that this car is good enough for you guys to show the difference when we polish it. So what are we seeing here, Henry? I see a lot of like Pokemon cards, man. Shiny holograms.
Yeah,
swirls.
Swirls, man. So if it's shiny, then why polish it?
So for this kind of approach, which will you go with? A Rotary or a dual action polisher?
For this one, the DA will suffice. The DA alone will suffice.
Are you sure DA will suffice? This is horrible. And by the way, this is a repainted car. Are we right on this?
Yeah. Yes, this is a repainted. We use this for trainings. We use this for our master class last year.
One thing I like about live is that there is no edits allowed. So you are looking at the actual stuff. Swirls are real. The polishing is real time. You will see the progress.
So you say my video fake in the past?
No but a lot of people say not I say I'm your supporter, bro. I click like,
Okay, come. Okay.
Anyway, so before we polish, is there any certain things that we must take note of?
Yeah, I need to wear an apron first.
Apron?
Baru professional bang.
Are you cooking?
No man, actually it's to prevent spatters but Me master level, where got better one? I need the apron.
Guys, have you ever
an
actually
apron.
seen this sort of horrible swirls on paint before or not?
Yeah,
Actually, this is done intentionally. Unless someone actually touches your car, it's unlikely that you will get this kind of bad swirls, or it's been badly neglected. Only then you will be able to see this.
No apron forgot the apron. Aha.
Put a cloth.
This is the Towel Ultra.
It only absorbs water, doesn't absorb polish, right?
Yeah.
What's this?
I think you know what? I think for a start, let's just do with paint cleaning and paint correction. So I sort of like explain the difference, like with defects like this. If I were to do certain things, I cannot remove fully.
I think that's a good start. Maybe you can show it to us.
Right. So okay, generally there are two types of polishing, three including leveling. Right. So two types. One is called paint cleaning, whereby I remove embedded stains and all, and glossen up the car. That's paint cleaning. And then the other one is paint correction, whereby we restore the paintwork to sort of like factory finish. Right. So let me start with a polish pad. This one here.
Well, I can't find you the CCS, but you want to use this instead?
Nah, just use this. Okay, this is a polish pad. This is a DA, in case you guys don't know. Okay. So hang on real quick. Let me just tape it up so that it's better for visuals.
How big of a surface do you intend to actually polish?
Yep, so I'm just going to section it up so that I want you guys to sort of focus on where you guys are, where to look at. All right. So I'm using the Paint Restorer 51.
What's a Paint Restorer 51?
It's a all-in-one polish. All right, a few pea-size drops like this. Pea-size. 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 Okay. Because it's hard to explain and talk at the same time because it's of some certain noise thing. I will show the results first and then I will explain later. Okay.
It's looking better already.
Yep. Actually, with the fluorescent tube alone, if it wasn't for the yellow spotlight, you probably would not see the swirls. Yep.
Before, after, it looks darker as well. The color of the paint looks better now.
Wait, I remove 0.25 microns.
Wow, you can feel it with your hands, huh?
When you reach my level, okay, never mind. Too much. There's only one polishing god I know, man. He can go 3,000 RPMs with his hand, man.
3,000 RPM with his hand?
Yeah.
His girlfriend must be happy.
You make me laugh, I cannot steady.
Okay.
Alright, so explain to us what we are looking at. What are we supposed to look at?
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, sorry, I'm not done with the demo. Perhaps after I do the paint correction polish, then we'll be able to see the difference better. All right. So I switched to a wool pad with a 46.
Do you get extra steps when you polish with your iPhone? Sorry, your Apple Watch.
iPhone,
Your Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Does it register as a step? Or is this guy polishing with a watch?
What's wrong with polishing a watch? I get my calls. You know, my calls are important, man. It's silicone, you don't scratch.
So Justin is asking, hi Henry, what's the difference between foam pads versus wool and microfiber pads? I think that's a very good question, Justin. And someone's also asking, does this pad leave hologram? Which pad are we referring to, the professional? If we are talking about the foam pad that Henry used for paint cleaning, it's unlikely to actually leave holograms because the pad is actually quite soft.
I think to better illustrate the exact problem, the exact question.
Let's go one by one then.
Pads are generally categorized like this.
So that's wool, that's a short wool, that's a microfiber.
Okay. Regardless of any wools will be in their category, right? Wools will be in the category, meaning to say that they will give more cutting, but they will sort of like sacrifice some finishing. All right. Microfibers of all kinds are somewhere in between the wool and the foams. All right. So when you categorize the pads, it's easier to sort of manage your combinations. So the wools are your cutters. You have heavy soles, you want to cut them. If you have light soles, you can just start with this. And for me personally, the foams are either for paint cleaning or for refining. I'm not a fan of using very aggressive foams and aggressive compounds to do the cut because I think they're not so efficient. I think a lot of Europeans would beg to differ because that's, I don't know, habit. For me, foam produces a lot of heat. Wool are very light, porous, but they're very sharp. So it cuts fast without the heat. That's from my experience and everything. So yeah, basically that's how we categorize pads. I hope I answered your questions. Anyway, back to this part here. I'd like you to focus a little bit on here and sort of the topic of the day that I want to talk about. So, this part here is corrected. This part here is also corrected, but this has a little bit more DA haze left behind as compared to this.
Well, for this, I'm looking at, there are still defects that are not removed. This one, whereby I'm looking at more defects removed, but also there are lighter defects that are present that was not present before.
Yeah. So we call it recuts. So honestly speaking, this is caused by the wool, but it's intended because we want to sort of shave off the bigger defects, leave the smaller defects, and then we finish up with the foam. However, if we tweak our techniques to sort of reduce the cut, we can actually achieve a one-stepper swirl-free finish. Wait, let me just hit it with the IPA in case, like, you say only you never watch IPA.
But is it necessary to IPA every time after you polish?
Yes, if you are looking for the true gloss, looking for the true cut, looking to not mask your defects or mask the sole marks, you have to IPA every time because paint works are different. Okay, so if you are doing on your own car and you know how your paint behaves, that's fine. As a professional, we get cars, we coming in, we don't know their characteristics, we polish them, we have to check. All right, so
are all polish oils removable via IPA?
a bulk of it, yeah. I would say if it covers, it covers. If it doesn't cover, it's good. So like this one here, it's pretty good.
Let's have a look.
IPA this part here. Okay.
This part is IPA.
So before I share what I did there,
Oh, we haven't answered Justin.
yeah, I think we did.
You did.
We did.
Okay.
I used the spray wax. I found last
Yeah,
one.
BPAT was our top fan.
Oh.
He has been watching since the first episode.
Hey, thanks, Pat. And glad you like the stuff.
Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. The Paint Butcher is here to answer all your queries.
Okay. So, actually, did you guys sort of understand what I'm trying to
So you didn't
explain here, right?
Why this part easy?
Oh, I didn't explain why it's quite hazy, yeah? Yeah. Okay, so this, but you managed to film that, right?
Yeah.
So this part here was a little bit hazy, is because I did not finish down nicely. Okay, so wait, before I go there, I have to say this. There are two things in polishing, cutting and finishing. Okay, if you choose to cut, chances are you forgo finishing. If you choose to finish, chances are you forgo cutting. All right. Of course, there are technology advancements whereby you can get cut and finish at the same time, but let's not go there first. Let's go to raw basics. So when I cut, okay, so I'm trying to manipulate cut and finish, playing around with techniques. Okay. So if I want extreme cut, all right, I can rev up my DA to speed 4, 5, or 6, and I can apply a pressure. Let me just give you an example. Oh. No dry buff, man. Not good, man. Okay, so I'm going to go in pressure, slow arm speed, and high rev. Maybe you can explain a little bit more on that later. Okay, so this is to express more cutting. Because we exert more force, it has more contact, it has more abrasion. All right, it knocks out heavier defects, but it leaves, in this combination, it leaves its defect on its own. All right, so then apply a bit more product. Now I want to express finishing. So I would go speed 1 or probably 2. I would go at a wider area so that I reduce contact and I would not pressure as hard as previously. All right.
Are you guys paying attention to the difference of techniques that Henry is doing? Because I'm looking at him and I noticed that when you polish cutting, when you express, you want more cutting, you're using higher speed of the machine, and your arm speed is actually lower. And then when you do it the second time to express finishing with the same combination, I notice your machine speed is lower, your arm speed is actually slightly faster as well.
Yes, okay, so three things here, probably it's very micro, but there are 3 things. Number 1 is the machine speed, all right? Machine speed, fast, more cut. Machine speed, low, lower cut. Second thing is the pressure, all right? Pressure heavy, more cut. Pressure low, low cut, straightforward, all right? The third one is the arm speed. Now, the faster it is, the less contact, low cut. The slower it is, more contact, high cut, all right? So with these 3 techniques all fused together, we can adjust our cutting as we go, or we can adjust the finishing as we go, okay? So I want to share one more thing, right, is how we fuse all these 3 techniques in one pass. Okay, what is a pass? A pass is I put the polish on the surface or on the pad, I work until clear. It's called one pass. All right. Sometimes people say the one pass, two pass, three pass, or probably we can call this a pass, and then that is one polish cycle. So yeah, maybe I reword. I call it one polish cycle.
One cycle, I think that's easier to relate.
That's easier to relate, right? So one cycle can consist of multiple passes. All right. The first couple of passes I will have very low to minimal cutting. It's because I want to spread the polish. All right. The second phase of the cycle, I would have more cut because I want to remove the defects rapidly. And then the last phase of the polish cycle is where I start to refine whatever source that I create with this.
So to put it in perspective, you are actually telling, you're actually going to perform 3 things in one pass.
One cycle.
In one cycle. Very ambitious. Let's try.
Yeah, it's called efficiency.
You shall not pass. Gandalf.
Okay, so I'll start with speed 1. All right. I can just do this. All right, just to spread. Okay. Now, as I'm done with phase 1 of the polish cycle, I will move to phase 2, which is the cutting, and then I will speed up. Okay. Apply a bit more pressure. Okay, at this point, the cutting is completed. You can see the original swirls are gone. Okay, the original swirls such as here.
So the original defects are, from the other panel, that's
gone.
untouched.
They are gone, but now we have DA haze, micro marrings.
Where? Yeah.
Yeah, around this area.
Right, BPAT, so just to answer you, oils in the polish will hide defects. Yes, it's very similar to silicone oils in wax.
Similar but different. Yeah. It's not silicone. Silicones are harder to remove.
Yeah, so oils will actually cover defects. So if you notice, most of our videos, we will spray on some IPA to remove it. Hope that answers your questions.
Okay, so polish cycle, I've done the spreading phase, I've done the cutting phase, now I go to phase 3, which is the refining phase, right? So just now was speed 1, now speed 3, and then I go to speed 2. And then, lighter pressure. I didn't because it's actually part of the polish cycle. Yeah.
Well, it looks much better now. Yep, it's pretty good. Can definitely see the difference before and after, after the cutting, whereby you remove most of the swirl and then you started finishing it.
Let me just give a check with an IPA.
David, we are using a now 46 for this paint.
Yeah. Probably, I mean, it's much better. It has a little bit of defects left. You want to perfect that, I would switch it up to a finishing pad with a 46. But if you're not anal, if you're not, what's the right word to use?
If you're not so meticulous, I guess.
If you're not so meticulous, the cutting in the car is good to go.
Yeah,
Alright.
You have to watch this in HD to actually view the remaining defects because it's very, very fine. So make sure your settings on the YouTube is actually on HD. If it's 320, you won't be able to see it.
480. I think it's the worst, right? 240. No, I don't think it's 240. I don't think it's 240. I got 320 one.
There is 320, right?
I don't know, man.
360. Oh, the camera guy knows.
Let the camera guy know, camera guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Would we notice any significant difference if we go through it with another polish that is less cutting in combination?
Yes, a little, significant, no, a little bit, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
If you ask me, this is probably like 90%. The additional step will just give you a 99.9%. I'm not a fan of 100%, but I always believe that 100% is God, 99.9% is human. Yeah, so anyway, religion aside.
To err is to human.
Actually, my English teacher did say that, you know. When you exam, you know, essay is 40 marks, right? 40 marks is for God. 39 marks is for the teacher.
So the teacher is playing God because the teacher is the one who decides how much score you get.
Fair enough. So the highest a student can ever get in an examination is 38.
Why not 39?
Because 39 is for the teacher. 40 is for God. They must one up you.
Sampat.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just top it up with a finishing foam. A repainted paintwork, I will use the 46 again.
So you are essentially just changing a pad.
No need lah. Okay, in this case, relatively less product. Okay. So the last pass that I did, so the last polish cycle I did was just to further refine to remove whatever little blemishes that are left.
So to recap, basically there are 3 techniques here that sort of detailers have to master if they want to level up their game, which is pressuring.
Yes.
Machine speed. So higher machine speed means more cut.
Yep.
And the arm speed, which means point A to point B. So the slower the arm speed is, the more cutting that we get, as opposed to the machine speed.
Yep.
So these 3 combination can also go hand in hand with the same combination to produce different results.
Yes, exactly.
But does that apply to rotary polishing?
Yes, it applies to rotary polishing as well. It applies to rotary polishing, it applies to every combinations. So whether you're using a foam, whether you're using a denim pad, which I didn't bring here today, or a wool pad, the same technique applies all across. Yeah.
But I think it would be more sensitive with the rotary, the techniques where techniques are concerned.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons, because the rotary is very aggressive to begin with. So yeah, more the reason that you need to control your technique.
I see.
Yeah.
Someone just asked, do we use a paint gauge when we polish?
Do we use a paint gauge when we polish?
Yeah, before we start polishing and measure paints. Is that necessary?
Okay, if you are going to perform a leveling job, if you're going to perform a sanding job, that would by experience or by knowledge, it removes a lot of clear coat. Yes, it's better to have a PTG, paint thickness gauge. If you're going to do a correction, if you're only going to do paint cleaning, if you have one, use it, but other than that, it's not really practical. You have to measure every spot. I don't really see the point for it. How do I put this? General rule of thumb is, if there's some form of OP on your paint,
OP means orange peel.
Orange peel. There's healthy amount of clear coat you can still play with, all right? If the clear coat is already very level and you have to perform a correction job, yeah, then you probably need a PTG to sort of see it. So I hope that answers your question.
Right. So there's another question which I think is relevant to today's topic on skills and technique. Justin just asked, is there a proper holding technique for DA such as the one Henry is using, pressure? I notice he's not holding the tip of the DA but rather at the rotary plate. It's in here.
Oh, right. Okay, this one is personal preference. But I can expand further. I can expand further. Okay, maybe I should. I just say here. I will just stay here then. Yeah. Okay. If I want a bit more cutting, I will put pressure here. Okay. So this one is direct drive. If I want to reduce cutting and I don't want to press, I can just hold it here, or I can even hold it here, like sort of like. All right. Or. So, yeah, actually, where you hold is where you want to exert the strength. However, yeah, it's personal preference. I mean, I could just hold here and I can be, you know,
is it safe to hold
down.
there?
Yeah, it's the shroud. The backing plate is here. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's safe. Like that.
Higher risk.
Yeah, I think as long as you feel comfortable and you know what you're doing, you want to apply pressure, you apply pressure. If you don't want to apply pressure, you don't apply pressure. If you want to apply negative pressure, which is sometimes if it's like this, if it's like completely head heavy, the pad will sort of sink in, and then you want to apply a negative pressure, you sort of like lift it up a bit.
One more time.
Like okay, like this. Let's just say this is because the machine is head heavy. Most machines are designed to be head heavy for more efficient C. The pad will sink in. So negative pressure, you have to lift it up. Okay. For super finicky paint, whereby the slightest of pressure will probably cause recuts, you have no choice but to, you know, sort of like elevate or release the contact point or release the abrasion. Yeah.
Negative. Yeah. So sometimes the way I hold a polisher, individual preference style, but ideally the idea is to have the machine aligned to make sure your pads are actually in contact with the paint. One of the most common mistakes during our training that I notice is that people tend to you know, slouch a bit or slant the machine a bit using it this way, so there's more force here or pressure here, but there is no pressure here. The way that is should proper is that you want to lift your hand up to a way that this is aligned to the paint.
Parallel.
Yep. So, yep. In terms of holding, if you are left-hander, you might want to use it this way as well. It's entirely up to you, but the most important is to have contacts on this. Sometimes, if I get lazy, I would actually hold the machine like that. That is me. It works for me. It works for me because most of the time I'll be demonstrating instead of actually doing the entire car. Holding this will actually cause more fatigue. But when I'm doing demo, it's actually a small panel.
You can hold like this.
So that's how easy to use. That's how easy a DA can be used. You can use it. The handling is
like
too easy. Yeah. Especially on top panels. On top panels, big cars. Yeah. That's very common sight. But if I can give a bit more input on control on polisher, whether it's rotary or DA, I would always try to minimize the gap between my body and the polisher because center of gravity. If you go further away, you lose a lot of control. Whereas if you hold it nearer to your body, you are actually getting more control from the polisher. This is even more obvious with the rotary polisher. So we have a question here just now that I noticed. This Roseanne, can I use rotary for full paint correction? Because I always have holograms left even after using a clean pad. I think that has to do a lot with cuttings that you explained just now with the 3 techniques.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to
Come over here.
maybe you want to demonstrate a bit. We actually have a video on that. Removing hologram with the Rotary. It's a pre-recorded video, it's not live. Can have a watch on the video. I think that's very helpful, whereby the same 3 techniques I actually mentioned also. Pressure, arm speed, and one more thing that you didn't cover earlier is the coverage. How big of a size of a panel?
Coverage, I think that one is not really a technique on its own, but more like, you know, it has to do with arm speed thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so now that you have a Rotary and you want to get the best out of it, number 1, explore the techniques. Number 2, you can explore more combinations before you make the switch, if required. You can speak to a local rep or whoever to see where the combinations, if it's optimum or not for the paintwork they try to polish. Do all these things first. If you still face problems, hook us up and we'll see where the problem goes. Yeah.
Right, so another thing that I want to ask is that, you know, a lot of people do demo on the vertical panel, but what about horizontal, especially on lower panels? Is there a different way to handle?
I'm wearing my slacks, man. Why you make me polish the sides?
That's vertical.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's vertical, horizontal. So is there a difference when you polish the lower? You know, are you supposed to sleep? Are you supposed to lie down and polish?
Actually, I think this is a topic for another day, you know.
Technically, it's still techniques.
Okay.
Guys, give thumbs up for Henry. He's doing all this hard work for you guys.
Wait, there's one more guy that asked actually whether clean pad helps. Clean pads. Okay, you don't have to clean the pad all the time. If the pad is saturated, you can find it very oily, then you need to clean the pad. If the pad is like this, it's still very much usable, you can continue to go on. Yeah, you can clean pads from time to time, but every time after you finish the session, you have to clean the pads before you store them. Okay, so doors, vertical panels, it can be a bit tiring because most of the force fall downwards. Okay, I have a practice whereby I put my knee up. Okay, of course you can get a chair, but you know, I've come from a generation where I don't have chairs then.
You don't have chairs in your generation? I thought we share the same generation. I had chairs. Do you want me to sponsor you a chair?
Anybody want to sponsor us a chair? You know where to send it to, man. Okay, so I have my knee as my anchor, so that when I put my machine here, most of the weight are transferred to my leg, and I don't feel so tired. And sometimes my leg would actually just like push my hand a little bit to sort of like exert some force if I require it. All right. Okay. As you can see from this side. So this is like this is. So this is my anchor point.
Asians are better at squatting.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so I can go low.
Well, what about the panel here?
All right.
So you tilt the polisher.
Yeah. So regardless of all my positions, my arm is always connected to my. It's sort of connected to my.
Leaning. So notice your hand is leaning on your knee.
Yeah. Regardless of my positions, yeah, my hand is always leaning on my knee, so that it's sort of like to reduce the workload. Like you have a walking stick kind of thing. So.
Why don't you sit down?
I think like to make me sit down and then I come up again and I sit down is like more tiring.
You are putting too much pressure on your ankle though.
Oh, okay. So yeah, but okay, the thing is like this, when I sit down and polish, and if I want to polish the top, I have to like get back up and, you know, polish. So if I'm squatting down, I can just spring it up and I can just, you know, it's more, I think my movements are less restricted when I'm doing this. Alright, so yeah, something like this. I just want to be careful of protruding areas, the rubber trims. Those are common things that you need to be careful of.
Guys, let us know how do you tackle the bottom panel, especially the lower panels here. Do you squat, or do you squat like Henry, or do you sit down? Let us know in the comments. But definitely, one thing I noticed is that we Asians can squat like that. This is actually unique to us.
Really?
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 Yeah, pat. I want to ask you, can you do this?
Where? In the toilet? In a cubicle, is it?
Doesn't matter. Serious, this is on BuzzFeed.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I think a good friend of mine called Kenneth Tang can sort of lie down and polish.
Lie down and polish.
Maybe he should show this. right now.
Sleeping Buddha.
I hold the camera.
What the?
You're gonna show us how you're gonna lie down and polish, man.
Whoa, gaya nya.
Look at that, man. Look at that.
I'm just saying, if you have budget, you want to lift the car up.
It's true. The only time I saw a guy doing that was him.
Okay, whichever. The most important thing is Oh, my English.
Oh, your English.
The most important thing is that you get comfortable. That's what I think it is lah.
Yeah.
For you, that stand might be comfortable for you, but definitely not for me. I've done too much taekwondo in the past that this hurts. I'm usually a guy who sits down.
Also
polish. So that's my style.
One more thing.
Sit down,
also.
polish. So we tackle that. Oh, side lights.
Yeah, I just want to share something. Like most of the lights are on a tripod. Okay, I just turn it on.
I think if you go lower panel,
you should remove the light.
make sure your lights are portable in that sense. You want to have fixed lightings and portable lightings.
Okay, you can go like this.
Whoa, this car is HORRIBLE.
You can go like this. Okay, the idea is this. How do I put it? You want to be 90 degrees. Okay, let's just see if you're looking down. If you're looking down like this, the light source should be in front of you, right? All right, so the light should be coming from there. Okay, so if I'm standing here, and I look down, the light should be
reflecting.
Yeah. If I'm here,
towards your eyes.
If
So
I'm
it should be a V shape, right?
V shape, yeah, V shape. If I'm here and the light is here, it's harder for me to see the lower panel. I can see exactly where, but then I cannot see the lower panels. I think you can stand here. All right. Stand behind me. Okay, so you can see where I'm seeing now. But if the light source is from the lower point, I can actually see more things as I'm standing. So when I polish, I can sort of see and work. If the light is only from the top, I have to do this.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. So angle,
The angles, yeah.
efficiency.
Positioning. Yep, and I'm sweating like I'm in a sauna.
You want to take a short break while I take over?
Yes, please, thank you. Where's my coffee?
It's my turn to sweat. So right. Another common thing that people tend to ask me during training is that, hey, I'm starting, but how come I see other detailers having different size of polisher? Kaiwan, can you help me to get the 3-inch one? For example, bumpers, polishing bumpers, 5-inch might fit here, but if you go lower, if you really want to get detail, you might want to utilize something smaller. So for professionals, it is always good to get more different vari size of DA. Henry, can we switch up the size of the DA backing plate on the 5-inch?
Give me a minute, sorry. Douglas did ask you if you ever squat in the cubicle.
Who is that?
Pat, he said
Pat got disconnected.
He got disconnected, yeah. So
Yep.
Douglas did ask you if you ever...
No, I was asking whether Pat can do this or not.
Okay, sorry,
I just want to
asking,
test the theory out.
you're asking something about what? What do you ask?
So, So, for example, can we use this 5-inch DA, switch up the pad to be a 3-inch, and continue to polish smaller areas here? Why not?
No. DA cannot. No. Cannot.
Why cannot?
The counterweight is balanced. It's meant to do so, like meant to be fitted with a heavier, bigger backing plate. Right? The weights are optimally well balanced. If you switch it to a 3-inch backing plate, it will be lighter and you will cause crazy lot of vibrations.
I see.
So unfortunately, DA has that limitation. Unlike a Rotary, you can just switch out the backing plates. The DA, you have to use a smaller unit or a smaller unit with a smaller counterweight to balance things off.
This looks like a toothbrush.
It is modeled after a toothbrush.
So yeah, professionals, they do have various tools. You might have a 3-inch like that. That's the 3-inch polisher, optimized for 3-inch pads. And then you have this small one where you can switch it up to 1-inch or even 2-inch and actually just polish smaller areas. For example, if I wanted to polish, where's the microfiber cloth? Here. If I wanted to polish more areas like this, obviously the large pad would not be able to go in. So what we do is, yeah, this is by the way interchangeable to Rotary or the A. Right, so this is how we would go on tight areas. This is quite fun. Yep. You want to tape here before you polish, but for demonstration's sake, I'll just go at it. Yep, so small polishers are like that. One thing about smaller polishers or smaller pads that it tends to get dirtier faster, so you actually need to clean up your pad more often or get more pads. If you're a business owner, get more pads because it's much more efficient to just polish all around and then wash it later. Right, curve and angles. Is there any specific technique that we need to know?
Curve and angles, You can go what? Can I finish work? 10:30 already.
No.
Is lighting here good? Is lighting here good?
Yeah, I guess we can adjust a bit.
Curve and angles, I have a whole video on it, specifically on curve and angles.
Yep. So for example, do we go with 3" here or 5" here?
Assuming you have to go with 5" we just start with.
I would go with a 3" to be honest.
Yeah.
It's quite big here actually.
Yeah. Oh, here.
Oh yeah, here's fun.
Yeah, here then you definitely need just use a smaller pad but
Yeah.
I'm saying if it's the curve and you need to hit the 5" there are some techniques involved
I see. So that's explain why actual detailing is actually time consuming. Those that does 1 hour, 2 hour job, you tao, I tao. But can you go with the 5" on that?
Here? Nah, it's not efficient. It's not efficient at all. You miss a lot of spots. Yeah. I think I'll save the curve one for next time,
Live Bling Bling episode 2.
Live bling bling bling.
Right. Let me have a look at some questions that people are asking before we move on to the next one. There's no questions. All right. Yeah, so I wanted to ask this. When you polish here, I realized that you have this process whereby you spread the polish first with a low speed and then you ramp it up. And then towards the end, if we were to put together in one step or so-called, you lower it down before you polish. Do you want to explain more about that? That process, to put it simpler?
So a cycle,
Wow.
a polish cycle, all right, you have 3 phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. One is spreading.
This guy make compound is so too cheap.
Yeah, but my cost only $1 spreading.
Inside joke.
Number 2 is
Cutting?
cutting. Number 3 is refining.
Finishing or refining?
Refine. Okay, so how the graph would look like in terms of,
Yeah, the graph. Oh.
okay, let's just just use speed. This is the speed should be here. And then this
Time.
is- yeah. So okay, at this stage, your speed should be the lowest because you're spreading. Okay. At this stage, your speed should be the highest because you are cutting. Then you sort of want to reduce halfway as you are doing the refining on the 3rd phase. So this is one polish cycle.
To maximize efficiency.
Yep. This is why I'm the pin butcher. So yeah, that's probably all.
Yep. You guys have any questions? What a waste. You say you're wasting compounds.
Never mind.
Nothing is truly wasted when you polish with it. Do we have a rotary pad?
Well, it's not wasted. It's not wasted if you leave home today with some
Valuable
valuable information that we want to share. So yeah, nothing is going to waste.
Yep. Do we have any more things that you want to share today?
I think no, that's pretty much.
techniques?
I think that's pretty much it. I think the more we share is the more we're just talking to ourselves.
Confusing?
Yeah, I
Confusing?
think it's more confusing. Yeah.
Yep. So let us know if you have any questions. Remember, questions are free.
Yep. So hey, Owen asked whether I got free things.
No. Free knowledge.
Free knowledge. Yeah, free knowledge.
This guy always asks free stuff.
So
Yeah. I think we both are sweating like mad.
Yep. 10:30. It's good to have you guys here with us today.
The next episode we are still going to talk about polishing, but different topic. Today we cover the techniques whereby we talk about pressure, speed, machine speed, and arm speed. Total 3 things. The next Bling, we will probably talk about combination. For those who are very confused on what sort of polish and pad you want to use, I think we will cover that on the following weekend detailed show. All right, so thank you all for joining us today. No free gift, Owen, I'm so sorry, but free knowledge. Knowledge is invaluable. MasterCard can't even swipe for that. All right, so thank you everyone. Thank you, Mr. Paint Butcher.
Thank you for butchering the paint.
Yep, butchering the paint and wasting some products. I will complain to our boss. Thank you. All right, guys, thank you. See you all. Bye. Let's